Well, hi, everybody. I'm Carrie Toth from somewhere2share.com, and I have Melissa with me. Melissa is the powerhouse document creator. She filled up all of our Huellas Google Drive folders with Google Slides student sheets. And so she's my right hand man on the tech stuff. I didn't know if we'd be able to get that ready for this school year or not, but I'm super glad. She plowed right through it. So thank you, Melissa. Melissa's also going to be manning the chat. So as you come and go into the session, know that I'm recording it and I'm going to post it on our YouTube channel so that if you want to watch it later, you'll be able to find out a little bit more about the curriculum. So we just wanted to welcome you to Huellas. I started designing the units for Huellas about 5 or 6 years ago. I wanted my students to have a little current events and things that are happening in the world around them and have an awareness of that. And I really like trying to be as sustainable as possible. And I thought, these are content based things that we can wrap up in input based units and help our students not only take away language, but also take away some really good lessons about how to be good stewards of their planet. And so I wanted to tell you a little about what's in the units of Huellas. In our first package, Huellas 1, and honestly, I think Huellas 1 and Huellas 2 are really independent of each other. One of the things that I wanted to do was make it so that a teacher, no matter who they were or what background their students had, they would be able to come in and use Huellas to either enhance the curriculum that they're already using or to be their full curriculum. And so in Huellas 1, we have Bajo la Mesa, which is an art-based unit. The song Bajo la Mesa by Morat and Sebastian Yatra is the theme of that whole unit. The second unit is called Parecidos, and it just takes a look at family relationships and who looks alike, and it's based around a commercial. Atrevete is also a commercial-based unit, and Atrevete has students make some promises about what they will dare to do in the future. So it gives them a good little immersion into the future tense. And then they follow that up with the switch, which is a third movie talk-based unit. So they're able to start to make more predictions about the film The Switch before they get to watch the video. So we really tried to front load a lot of the future tense, which is great for our level 3, 4, and AP students who, when they take their AP test or the Apple or the stamp, whatever they're using to get their credit, their college credits or their seals of biliteracy, they're able to use the present, past, and the future just naturally and know when to use each one. We tell the story in the present tense, we review it in the past tense, and we make predictions in the future tense throughout all of the units. And so that really helps students get that foundational piece of their language. Huellas 1.5 is called Sirena. It's a song-based unit, and the song Sirena has a really beautiful video, but it also has a little bit of a talk about sign language and things that other languages that students might learn. Huellas 1.6 is recipe talks, and so it has authentic pieces because I had a native speaker friend record a recipe talk for each of the unit recipes. So you can pick and choose what you want to make with your students, and you can even prepare them virtually and show your students how you're making the different recipes while we're remote and hybrid this year. Comer para vivir is eat to live or live to eat, the different ways that you can look at eating. We definitely took a look in the past. The unit had maybe a little bit of a health conscious, what's a healthy plate, but with a lot of people have said, with eating disorders and things that kids are dealing with, putting the focus on, bad and good foods was maybe not the best idea. And so we've reworked it. So now it looks at different dietary needs that, what if you're a vegan? What if you're a vegetarian? What does a week's worth of groceries look like around the world? When you look at a US typical household, there's fast food, there's sodas and stuff. And when you look at somewhere in Japan, there's a lot of fish and there's a lot of rice. And so just comparing what people tend to eat. Dame Dame Chocolate takes a look at sustainable chocolate production, but also how if we destroy the rainforests, we will lose our chocolate. Medicina Okura compares the idea of modern medicine where you go to the doctor and you get a prescription versus using home remedies and herbal remedies that our grandmas have always told us about. But the kids today are getting really excited about essential oils. And so we worked in a little bit of essential oil therapy in there too. And the last unit in Huellas 1 is Bella y la Bestia. It's another song based unit, and it just is the first kind of step into what is beauty for our students. You have anything for me, Miss Melissa?
I do not. We've got Bridget and Soul that are watching right now. So they just wanted to
Hi.
chime in, let you know that they're here.
So at the end, and in the files and the pictures here on Somewhere to Share, we shared these images. And if you want, you can email me, Carrie@somewheretoshare.com, and I will send you the PDF of this so that it's, a little bigger. This is actually the list of the units in Huellas, some of the key structures that we're working in the unit, maybe the grammatical feature, and it also tells what AP theme would be maybe approachable with this particular unit of study. So is it beauty and aesthetics, or is it, science and technology? Also, just brand new, this is Huellas 111. So the Huellas curriculum has been these first 10 units, but as I get new ideas and things I want to try out with my classroom, I use a lot of readers in the classroom, and those take up chunks of time. But not every teacher uses readers as part of their curriculum. So we would like to expand the Huellas curriculum so that it's a little longer, so that it fills up a full year. And so as we go through this year, I'm trying to develop new things with my students to help take that sustainability piece, to take the idea of being global citizens a little deeper. And so I wrote this unit, Compra Menos y Haz que Dure, just about sustainable fashion and what it looks like to have fast fashion companies that are more concerned with turning a profit than how they treat their employees or how they treat the environment, versus companies that are producing sustainable clothing and ways to be sustainable, even just like shopping secondhand. So this is a separate, so unit Huellas 1 is a bundle. This is the first unit of what I hope will be bundle B of Huellas 1. But for now, it's just kind of a standalone that can be used at the end. Or really, what I like about the way we laid out Huellas in a way that it makes sense to follow from eat to live into chocolate, some specific thing, or recipe talks into what it means to eat for us, and then into chocolate. But you can really do them in any order. There's nothing that students would be missing out on to do one ahead of another. So if you really like a unit, you can pull it out and put it anywhere you want to in your curriculum. We just thought that we would line them out in a way that really flowed, so that students would build a little bit on the knowledge from the last unit, but they could be reversed and you could build on the knowledge of the first unit at the end. So
And that was one of the questions that came in, was recommending with Bella y la Bestia with Bajo la Mesa. It was suggested that because both of them are very much art themed, using it before a unit on Frida Kahlo.
Yes, I did this year with my juniors. I did Bajo la Mesa, and then I did the Fluency Matters reader by Christy Placido, Frida Kahlo, and it was great. And then in my Spanish fours, we went on and they hadn't done Bella y la Bestia last year as Spanish threes because I wrote it over the summer. And so I was able to pull that in and work with them. And I absolutely see what you mean. There were so many ways that unit worked really well off of the Bajo la Mesa unit. So I agree. That would be a great one to put in front of Frida Kahlo. We got a lot of mileage out of what we had done in the Bajo la Mesa unit with art analysis. As we read Frida Kahlo, I think the kids were way more into her paintings this year because they already had just a little idea of how to evaluate art from their Bajo la Mesa unit. And that's such a cute video. It was just I love that video, and I love the way that they portrayed all the works of art in different ways, so the kids could kind of then carry that over and make their own works of art in different ways too. In Huellas too, and this is what I'm using with my force now. We did do Huellas 1-1 and 110 Bajo la Mesa and En Guerra because those were new units they hadn't done. And in the spring, we sort of abruptly ended. And I know that probably I'm not alone in saying that my kids checked out a lot in the spring. They did the bare minimum that it took to survive because we had, and I don't know if it was like this in every state, but Illinois said basically do no harm. Like they can do extra stuff to bring their grade up, but nothing that you give them can bring their grade down from where it was when you went out of school. So even if they didn't check in the whole entire time, the worst thing that I could do to them was give them an incomplete. And so the kids did come and they did do, the work, but they weren't really into it like before because we had no synchronous meetings and we really, it was hard to even give them asynchronous video because they didn't have a time they were supposed to check in and do stuff in your classroom. So I went back and did those two just because I thought music is a really fun way to engage them anyway in a unit. And so from those two, we went to En Guerra, and we just finished Orangutan en mi habitación. So we're going to be starting Biodiversidad as we start the new week this week and hopefully get that one knocked out right before Christmas. Orangutan en mi habitación is a commercial based unit. Also, it is a save the save the orangutans type of idea on sustainable production of palm oil. And then biodiversity is more just about the effects of tearing down the rainforests and what kinds of animals live in the rainforest versus what lives around here to get them interested in the parts of the rainforest and how it differs from the forest that they are surrounded by. We moved from that because we do talk some about the Panama Canal and the watershed around that area, and we compare it with a local area with a forest and a body of water. And then we move into how important water is, and we do El Agua es Vida, water is life. This is actually kind of a universal unit because in Water is Life, we look not only, I think people immediately think about countries where people have to walk to get water, which you do, some of the countries mentioned do, but we also look at countries who are at day zero, where there is no more fresh water in the area of the community. And we talk about India and some of the communities that because of pollution from the technology industry, they don't have fresh water available in these huge metropolis, and in South Africa. And then also in Flint, Michigan, we look at Flint, Michigan, and in Southern California, where drought, it's a privilege of mine to be able to say, my kids are gonna go out and look for all the places that they have access to fresh water because I don't think about it all the time. Alicia Cardenas from Comprehensible Classroom said, I've been in California and I'm very sensitive to things like that because I know that we don't have a lot of places where you can go to get fresh water because there's shortage. Like you wouldn't just have a hose running or, a lot of fountains out there because water is so precious here. We go in 2.5, we go to La Energía Renovable. So continuing with the theme of, what's happening in the world, we look at Costa Rica and how Costa Rica is running basically right now on 98% renewable energy for the whole year. They can go about 330 days now without using, without having to depend on fossil fuels for their energy. And their push is to, by 2050, be all electric on their cars too. So they're really exemplary. And in that unit, we take a little trip to Costa Rica and look around at all the different types of energy they're producing. Educarse para Superarse is about, all of these are kind of based around the Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations. And Educarse para Superarse is about equal opportunity to have an education for women and for children and for people in the US and people abroad. Los Años Dorados is about the tercera edad, the golden years for our students to look at how seniors are treated in the United States versus in other countries and just what it means to go into that period. And it even includes a service project, which I'm kind of bummed right now because it's such a great opportunity for the kids to connect with the seniors in their area. And we just are completely hand tied about, connecting with seniors right now. So that's going to be kind of a missing piece of the unit for me this year. Viajar students just kind of set I'm from a very small town. I want my students to see that there's more to the world than just the town that they live in, and have some big dreams. So we talk about our favorite places that we've been, places that we've always dreamed of going, places that we've seen people we admire go. And I just try to let them know that, as a kid from a small town who came from a family that didn't have the ability to travel, I've been able to travel through my job. And that just kind of give them the maybe boost to know that just because you can't do it today doesn't mean you can't dream about doing it later. And then we finished the year with Mar de Plástico, which is a study of plastic pollution in the ocean. And then Basura Cero, living, making as little waste as possible. And we actually even talk about a lady who in a whole year only creates as much waste as fits in a mason jar, which to me is incredible because, like I said, I'm trying very hard to be sustainable, but I fail as much as I get it right. And so seeing people who are doing it and doing it really well is pretty impressive. And we have the same little deal with the chart that shows which AP themes we're trying to address in each unit and what grammar structures are easy to focus. In every unit in Huellas, at the beginning, you have a table of contents. You have a thing called grammar bubble. And the grammar bubble is just if you're going to choose some things to focus on grammar wise, because there aren't a lot of just upfront, straightforward grammar lessons in the curriculum. But there are a lot of suggestions for ways to use the grammar in context. So you'll be using past tense to retell stories, or you'll be using future tense to make predictions, or you could use subjunctive in Medicina o Cura to recommend what someone should do for a particular health problem. So the grammar bubble kind of brainstorms ways, especially if you're tied to a textbook in some way. How do you bring in those textbook grammar lessons and work them into a unit that's content and that's more engaging to students than just, a chapter with a bunch of vocabulary activities in a workbook, which is what I used to do. And then we also have a vocabulary list for each unit, and we have a lesson plan. But we also, for this year, we added a remote lesson plan. So we gave you suggestions for how to break the days up to fit in a 25 to 30-minute remote period, because we figured my period is 35 minutes this year. Melissa is mainly, you're also full remote and synchronous, Melissa?
Yeah. So we have 4 synchronous days a week, and then we have 1 asynchronous day. If we have students in the building, we are still teaching online at the same time. So that's been fun. It's been interesting. I like having kids in the classroom, but again, it's another added thing to the layer that is 2020.
Yeah.
But being synchronous, it gives me an idea that I need to really slow things down. And so by having that shorter period allowed for in the curriculum, it helps to kind of space things out and make sure that you are going slow enough. Because I think sometimes, like even every day, even though I've been doing this for an entire quarter and a half now, almost a whole semester,
I know.
think, oh, I can do all of these things, and you just can't. It's not really feasible to do all of those things that you want to do in a regular class period, because it takes times for things to load. It takes time for kids to be able to get things open and access a website. So all of those things take time. And I think by looking at a shorter time period in the remote plans will really help you in planning for those synchronous time periods.
And I think I've enjoyed with the 35-minute class period. Last year, I might, in a 48-minute class period, I might try to do the reading and answer the questions and then hurry up and cram in one more activity because I had 48 minutes to fill. And I feel like having the shorter class period, I've been able to enjoy each step of the plans a little better, because that's it. Like, this is what we're going to focus on today. And I have the whole hour or the whole 35 minutes to do this. And I like that. I feel like it helps us connect better with the one thing because I'm not trying to cram in, okay, we're going to listen to the song first and then we're going to do this and then we're going to do this. We just sort of dig in deep to the one thing and have a couple brain breaks during it.
Yeah, so Bridget said that she's 100% virtual with 30-minute periods for each class.
Bridget, are you synchronous or are you asynchronous?
My guess is synchronous.
Synchronous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have liked that. My school is, well, we are actually closed and all remote right now for quarantine and stuff. But we have been synchronous hybrid. So 50% of kids come Monday, Thursday, 50% of kids come Tuesday, Friday, and Wednesday, everybody's all remote. But if they're at home Tuesday, Friday, they still Zoom in with the class. So, and I'm also at home. So that makes it even weirder. I have a sub in my room with the kids that are there, and I'm just a giant head on their TV. You notice I dive into the camera a lot because I'm always trying to keep them awake at home. So it's been an interesting year. And now we're virtual through the Friday of this week, and then we'll see. I am afraid after Thanksgiving holiday, things are going to get worse. Our area, our county in Illinois is the #1 for percentage COVID spread right now. So I'm a little concerned about whether we'll get to go back to finish the semester hybrid or not. But it's been nice to have. It's one of the things as I looked at making the plans this summer, I knew I wanted to use these units and I thought, man, I'd really like to have them be just, I didn't want to have to go teach two different ways, like teach to home people and teach to school people and have to be adapting plans all the time. So I just did it all this summer and I've been really glad about that.
Yeah, so Bridget said that she has 4 third-year students and 2 fourth-year students. So the great thing about that, then she has 100+ students that are first and second years.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Oh, God bless you.
Yes.
I think the great thing about having third and fourth year students though is like they can all, and this is like a planning tool that I've told every single teacher that's just starting out, especially if you're not used to using a proficiency-based system in your classroom and in your curriculum. By starting them all on that Huellas 1, Unit 1, you can start them all at the same time because essentially, I don't remember who said it, but if you have been in a textbook-based program and if you're in a level 3 classroom, then they're still novice level students. And I think that's where that Huellas 1, Unit 1 will really come in handy. And then you don't have to lose your mind trying to double plan, and you can just recycle that material for the following year. And then that year 3, when they become year 4, you can cycle in the Huellas 2 units. And I think that would be a great way to maintain your sanity.
Right. And we use in our level 1 and 2, we use Martina Bex's Somos curriculum. I write some units, but we really only use about 4 units that I wrote in Spanish 2 and 1 in Spanish, or 2 maybe in Spanish 1. And the rest we use Martina's Somos. And so Huellas was built as I was leaving Somos and working with these 3s and 4s. So if you've used a Somos curriculum, then it's a natural bridge into that. But even for a textbook curriculum, I think that it gives them starting with Huellas 1-1. That's why we built in the kind of movie talks and the commercial talks. I don't know if you noticed back here, but as I was going through them, Bajo la Mesa is a movie talk with a video, and Parecidos is with a commercial, and Atrévete is with a commercial. So they're all very focused on giving students input, so that even if they've come from an environment where they haven't maybe heard a whole lot of Spanish yet, that's what they're getting ready to do, is hear a lot more Spanish as they go through all of these units. And then their production comes up really quickly as they hear more and more Spanish in class. They become able to say more and more.
So let's see. Sol said that she has 75 minutes with a third of the kids, usually in the classroom, and the rest at home via Google Meet. she's a champion at not losing it when technology goes the opposite way of what I planned. Amen.
Amen. And that happens so much now. We've had, and I'm sure if you guys have kids coming in synchronously, man, Schoology has gone down and the kids get their Zoom link from their Schoology. So they get up and they get on and Schoology's not working. So you get 60 emails first thing in the morning. I can't get in Schoology. And you have to send out the, I think by the end of this, we are all going to be masters in the art of, oh my gosh, this isn't working. Now I need to abandon ship and do something else.
Bridget said she is using Somos with first and second years, so that's awesome. This will be really nice solution for those third and fourth year then.
Yes, because they will have been used to having movie talks and story talks, picture talks and class stories, and those are the kinds of things that we have in the Huellas units, and so I think it'll be a good bridge for them to go from Somos into the upper level ones. And like Melissa said, the easiest thing to do with any new curriculum, I just started the school I'm teaching at now. I started there, this is my 5th year. And I came in and they hadn't really they've been using Realidades textbook. And so we wanted to convert to a more proficiency based curriculum. And so we switched over to Somos and we had a really small level 3-4 combined class. And so I just kind of started doing some movie talks and commercial talks with the 3-4s. They were all in there together and they all learned kind of at the same pace and it worked out great. It was less planning for me to have them all doing the same material. And it was kind of the first time they'd done content in the language. And so it was a new experience for all of them. And I don't think everybody felt like they were appropriately challenged, if that makes sense. Like nobody felt like it was baby work for them and nobody felt like it was too hard for them. We were able to just kind of move slowly through doing content-based input. I know Melissa also came into a textbook-based curriculum and had to build on that with the input-based units. And so having Somos first is awesome because your kids will already be so accustomed to the way that a unit looks when you to use the language and then ask them to produce the language. Over what I think is different is that in the textbook they don't hear and use the language a bunch before they have to do it. They just kind of are expected on day one to start producing with it without having really acquired it yet.
I think for me, one of the most gratifying comments that I've ever gotten from students time and time again is that they don't feel like they're learning Spanish because they have so much content and like it just becomes second nature to them to talk about these type of topics within a language that they feel comfortable having acquired. And I think that by giving them units like this that really allow them to kind of open up the horizons a little bit more, it gives them something that they can go home and like say, hey, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, whoever it is that's in their circle of care, like this is what I'm talking about in Spanish. And it's cool for them to then say like, yeah, we're talking about all of this stuff in Spanish and I understand it. And this is what I'm going to do now because of the things that I've learned. And so that's a really special thing that happens when you start incorporating these types of units into your curriculum.
And I never really had, like, when I was teaching about the supplies in my backpack, I never had a kid, send me a tweet and say, hey, look, I'm opening my backpack and I found a calculator and a stapler. But now that we do things like the plastic ocean unit and they say no to their straw, that was our big, like the motto of the whole plastic ocean unit is Dino al Popote. And they send me pictures all the time of places that they are where they've said no, they didn't want a straw, or I gave them all a metal straw at the end of the unit to use whenever they were out. And so a lot of them will still send me pictures when they're drinking out of their metal straw somewhere. So it definitely, having a content that they can connect with emotionally plus the language, it makes it so much more personal to them than the disconnect of just these are themes we think kids might be interested in. School supplies and classroom commands. turn in your homework.
Exactly.
Household chores, that's my favorite one. I chuck that straight in the chuck it bucket because nobody's interested, and I'm not interested in household chores at all either.
I don't even like to do chores, so I know that my students don't even do
I
chores.
know. I don't either. It's terrible. Well, I did want to share that Cyber Monday, which is, 2 days away now, and Tuesday, Teachers Pay Teachers is doing their annual Cyber Monday sale. And so if you use the code CYBER20, um, I'm giving 20% off everything in my store, which would include the Huellas bundles or the new unit. And then Teachers Pay Teachers, if you put in the code at checkout for Cyber 20, they'll put another 5% off. And so that'll save you 25%. So it's a great time, no matter what kinds of things you're looking for in the classroom. This is when I go stock up on all the stuff that I need, just because it's nice to be able to get a couple extra things. I know our bucks are always stretched tight, especially school stuff. So, but that would be, if you've been thinking about Huellas, it's a great time to get it because the price will be right. Well, if you guys have any more questions, I'm happy to answer them. And if I answered everything already.
Yeah, I don't see any other questions that are coming in.
So awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming and joining us. Thank you, Melissa, for stopping and helping and manning the chat for me. And if you join the Huellas by Somewhere to Share on Facebook, we have a group where teachers who are using the curriculum are sharing. It has been so much fun. For me, these are kind of my babies. And so I'm using them in my classroom, but then to see what students in other classrooms are producing and what teachers are coming up with to kind of accompany the Huellas curriculum is incredible. And the teachers in the group have already, we started a Google shared drive, and they're uploading all their cool ideas. And so it is awesome to be part of this group of really creative teachers who are doing cool stuff with the things that I made. So that I would recommend that group. And then of course this group, somewhere to share.com, where I share ideas for what I'm doing in my classroom, and encourage you to share what you're doing in your classroom as well. So have a great last couple days of your Thanksgiving break, and definitely a great end of the semester. And I will see you guys soon. Bye bye.